I am the founder of Teach the Geek. It's an online platform for STEM professionals. The first offering of the platform is a public speaking course called Teach the Geek to Speak. To learn more about the platform, please go to teachthegeek.com. Again, that is teachthegeek.com. As today is Tuesday, today is Teach the Geek Tuesday. I've been doing these for a few weeks now, and I thought I would talk about conference presentations. Back when I used to work as a product development engineer, the company would send me to conferences every now and then to present on the research or the work that I was working on at the company. And if you've ever attended any conference, you know that, what's the best way to say this? The people that are presenting, I highly doubt put all that much effort into their presentation. That's probably the nicest way to put it. The presentation sucked, basically. I mean, if you were having sleeping problems, you could go to a presentation and you'd be cured of that pretty quickly. I mean, it was a complete snooze fest. I mean, there were actually times where I would go and sit at a conference just for a quiet, not necessarily quiet, but a comfortable place to sleep. and the presentations did the trick almost every time. The reason I think that is, as I said, people don't put all that much effort into them. They slap some things onto PowerPoint slides and then they basically read the slides. Sometimes they don't even look up at the audience at all. They'll just look at the screen of the computer that their presentation is on and just read verbatim. And a lot of times they'll have a lot of text on those PowerPoint slides. And so it's really easy for them to just read through the whole thing without ever having to look at anybody. And this is obviously, I hope it's obvious, not the best way to present because it's difficult to engage the audience when you're not looking at them. But that's not really what I want to talk about. But what I want to talk about with regards to conference presentations is how you can make yours better. Well, first thing, don't read the damn slides. That should be a given. You really wanted to look at the people you're talking to so that they actually think that so that they think that you're talking to them, and by doing that, they're a little bit more likely to listen. But there are the 3 tips that I have to really improve your conference presentations. And the first one is, what did I say? I mean, as I mentioned earlier, these talks can be pretty dry. They can be pretty boring. What you want to do is you want to add something unexpected to the presentation, something to kind of, liven the mood, maybe make people laugh so that they're more inclined to listen to you as opposed to just presenting dry data, which is a lot of the case at these conferences. So something like maybe a funny picture or a funny quote or just a funny story, something, especially at the beginning when you're trying to get people's attention, to really bring them in so that they're more willing to listen to what you're going to say, going forward. And the next thing I would highly advise for you to do is to practice. I highly doubt that a lot of the people that present at these conferences ever practice their speech. I mean, why would you have to practice if you're just going to read off the slides anyway? As long as you know how to read, you don't need to practice. You just get up there and read. And that's what a lot of people at these conferences do. But to really, I guess, get the most impact of your presentation, it's really beneficial to you to practice beforehand. Practice, not only just the practice so that you're more comfortable presenting, so that you can actually look at people as opposed to reading, but then just practice so that your timing is down, because typically at these conferences, you have a certain amount of minutes to present. And so often at these conferences, people go over time because they didn't practice. And it's so annoying, and it throws the whole conference schedule off because now you're playing. Now things are going longer than they're supposed to go, and then the next session can't start on time, and the next one can't start on time, and then damn it, I'm late for lunch. They start lunch late. now I'm really pissed because now I'm hungry, I'm bored, and I'm angry, all 3 together. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be the person. You don't want to be the reason to hold up the schedule. So make sure you practice. And then the last tip that I have is you want to anticipate questions. This is really important because you don't want to look like a fool up there. So especially if you're in front of people that you're trying to impress. Oftentimes, I think it's pretty easy to kind of look at what you've presented and see the holes in what you've presented and kind of try to anticipate what questions people in the audience are going to ask. Obviously, that's not possible all the time. Maybe there's going to be a question or two that's going to throw you for a loop, but hopefully you know your material well enough that you're not too rattled. But if you're able to anticipate the questions beforehand, you'll feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident when it comes to the end of your presentation and you ask people if they have questions. At least then you're not going to be hoping your head, please, dear God, no, don't let anyone ask me any questions. I didn't anticipate anything. I just want to get off this podium and go sit down somewhere and sleep through the next presentation. So those are my 3 tips. So you want to have something unexpected in the presentation to try to grab people's attention and keep it. You want to make sure that you practice so that you're within time and not throwing off the schedule of the conference. And then the last point is you want to anticipate questions so that you don't look like a fool when someone asks you something. And I think with all these 3 tips, you're well on your way to doing a lot better at presenting at conferences. And I tell you, the people in the audience will thank you. Well, at least the ones that aren't trying to sleep. The ones that actually do want to catch up on their Z's, they might not be all too happy about it, but the people that actually want to hear what you have to say, they'll appreciate it. My name is Neil Thompson. I am the founder of Teach the Geek. It's an online platform for STEM professionals. The first course available on the platform is a public speaking course called Teach the Geek to Speak. To learn more about the course, please go to teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, please take care.